This is everything Google and Apple currently run for you. Your inbox, your files, your photos, your passwords, and even your calendar. And the reason you've never left is that it all just works seamlessly together, right? One login, everything synced, everything in one place. And that's the real upside of living inside one company's ecosystem. But here's the catch though. The same company that connects all of it can also read all of it. Every email, every file, every place you've been, sitting on servers, they control. What if you could keep everything in one place, but take away the part where they get to read it? That's precisely Proton's pitch. 10 products within one account, a private version of almost everything Google and Apple can do for you. And I spent months testing every single one of them to figure out if it's truly ready to take over your digital life. So in this video, I'll walk you through all 10 Proton products, one at a time, and I'll show you how to actually set each one up to replace its Google or Apple counterpart. So it's going to be a little bit of a Proton tutorial masterclass, if you will. By the time the video is over, you'll have every Proton product set up on your machine. Your Gmail and Google Photos is essentially migrated over. Your passwords are imported. Your calendar is moved, and you'll know the exact order to do it all so nothing truly breaks. And stick around to the end because I've boiled this whole migration down into one simple map you can follow step by step so nothing, really nothing, gets left behind. All right, before we get to the apps, you might be wondering, what is it that makes Proton a better ecosystem than the one I'm already using? Well, let's give you a couple of reasons. First, jurisdiction. I mean, Switzerland isn't part of any intelligence sharing treaties, and Swiss law doesn't force email providers to retain your data. But even if it did, it wouldn't be that bad because of the second reason, which is client-side encryption. And honestly, this is the part that does the actual work, that does the actual heavy lifting. It means Proton can't read your files even if they wanted to. You hold the keys. They hold essentially just encrypted blobs. A court order asking for plain text gets a polite, sorry, we don't have it. And finally, there's the audits. Proton's undergone 4 consecutive annual no-logs audits since 2022, most recently in September 2025. And here is why you should actually care about that. Anyone can essentially slap a no-logs label on their marketing page. That part is literally free. What's not free is having an outside security firm show up year after year, dig through your servers and your code, and sign their name to it. And that's what turns a marketing line into something you can actually trust. Let's get started with Proton Mail. This is, I would say, the OG Proton app, and it's where you should basically start your migration. Because if you're like me, you've probably gathered over 20 years of email data. So Proton Mail obviously handles, well, you guessed it, all of that email. But unlike Gmail, it's essentially all encrypted. So Proton can't read message bodies or attachments. Gmail reads every word of every email you send to flag spam, to train ad targeting, to train their AI models, whatever they're doing this quarter to satisfy their shareholders. But Proton, on the other hand, they can't. The thing that actually sets Mail apart from Gmail is zero-access encryption on bodies and attachments. I don't know about you, but out of all of these apps, Mail is one where the idea of the company scanning everything makes me real uncomfortable. And it's really one of my favorite things about the whole Proton ecosystem. Now, the question is, how do you actually get from Gmail to Proton Mail without losing, I don't know, decades of email, right? But Proton has a tool called Easy Switch that does most of the work for you. And let me show you how that works. Now watch this. I open Proton Mail in the browser. I click Settings up here in the corner, and then Easy Switch over here in the sidebar. I pick Google from the list of import sources, and now look at this. I can import not just my emails, but also my contacts and also the calendar events. Now, I just need to run through this process, and I'm sure you've all seen one of these before, right? I sign in with my Gmail address, then hit Select All, and then Continue. Now watch the sidebar. My Gmail folders appear one by one. Inbox, send, drafts, every label I had. Boom, it's essentially years of email encrypted on its way in, sitting in Proton Mail. Now here's something else most people don't realize about Proton Mail. There's a proper desktop app. Wow, Gmail wants you to live inside a browser tab forever because, well, They want you to use Chrome, and if you use Chrome, they can not only control your email, but they also capture all the browsing data. Every website you visit, everything you do in the browser, they will ingest, and they will make their algorithms better. Right? Google quietly killed off any first-party desktop client years ago for Gmail, and Proton ships an actual desktop app for Mac, Windows, and Linux, plus pretty solid mobile apps on iOS and Android. So you can have Mail living in its own window like a real piece of software, not just another tab fighting for your attention. And there's one bonus tucked into the desktop app that truly surprised me. Calendar is built right in. It's the same window, instant switch between Mail and Calendar, no second tab to manage. Free users get a 40-day trial of the desktop app so you can poke at it before truly committing and see if it's really floating your boat. Now I want to show you what I think is Proton Mail's hidden killer feature. And honestly, this is something I use literally all the time, every day. An alias. An alias is a throwaway email address you give to a website you don't trust. The website sends mail to the alias, Proton forwards it to your real inbox. You can kill the alias anytime without touching your real address. So I use this for everything. When I'm signing up for a new streaming service I want to test out, when I'm signing up for a newsletter, whatever it is, especially free trials that endlessly spam you to upgrade. But the real win here is security. Say a data breach happens on a service you use. Normally your email and maybe even your password would just be out there in the open for anyone to grab, right? But with an alias, you just delete it and you move on with your life. And let me show you how to set it up because it's honestly really easy to miss. Look at this. I open Proton Mail and click this shield over here, right? Here I can create an alias and also turn on Proton Sentinel. I'll turn it on for now, but more on that a little bit later. I'll just click create an alias here and boom, there it is. This thing right here. Now, I just click create and it's automatically copied into my clipboard, ready to use in a sign-up form. And if that website ever leaks the alias to a spam list, I kill the alias in one click and the spam dies with it. Now that we have Proton Mail set up, there is one piece of housekeeping that's incredibly important that we have to do before setting up anything else. I'm talking about account recovery because Proton can't read your files. They also can't reset your password for you. Lose your password and your recovery method, and your files are gone for good. Proton cannot help you. You can call their support, but there's nothing they can do to recover your files and your email. So set this up before you move anything in. It takes literally just 2 minutes and is super easy to do. And here is what you need to do. In Proton Mail, click the settings gear up here, then all settings, then recovery over in the sidebar. And here you can see a ton of options for account recovery. The password reset options here on the top are fine, but they won't get your files in Proton Drive back. And for that, you'll need one of these options down here. You can generate a recovery phase, right? Assign a trusted device. You can download a recovery file or even set another person as a trusted contact who can decrypt your files in case of an emergency. It's kind of like a buddy system, but for file encryption. I always turn on at least one of these, maybe even a couple of them. My personal preference is to write down the recovery phrase on a piece of paper and then put them somewhere in a safe deposit box or somewhere truly safe, but also add my main computer as a trusted device and drop the recovery file on an external hard drive. Sound a little paranoid? Well, maybe, but I've gone through catastrophic data loss before, and let me tell you, it was truly not a fun time. Here's the bottom line for Mail. For almost any privacy-curious viewer watching this, Proton Mail is a huge improvement on Gmail. The aliases alone justify the standalone price, and it's the first thing I'd switch over if I were you personally. Now, while we're still inside Proton Mail, there's one thing tucked into the Compose window worth taking a quick look. It's called ProtonScribe. It's an AI writing assistant that lives right inside Mail, and it's worth knowing about even if you decide it's basically not for you, right? And here's how it works. I'll hit the new message in Proton Mail, and down here you see this purple pencil icon. Since this is a fresh install of Proton Mail, it'll ask me like this if I want to run it on a Proton server or locally on my device. And if you're like me, you'll probably want it on the device itself. But look at this here, right? Doing that means I have to download over 3 gigabytes to get the assistant to run locally. I think it's worth it, but maybe check that you're not running on low storage or anything so that you're safe to install these 3 gigabytes. So now that it's downloaded, I can have Scribe write the email for me like this. I just click write for me, and I can give it a quick prompt. Let's say I just write an email requesting a meeting with my coworker, and then I hit enter, right? Just like that. And here we go. Now you can see it's pretty obviously AI written, so I wouldn't use it for anything really serious. I can also tell it to expand or to shorten the text with these buttons up here to tell it to formalize or make it more friendly over here, right? Honestly, Scribe doesn't do much for me, right? Writing the kind of emails I trusted with, they aren't really a big time sink for me anyway. It is possibly something for you if you have difficulty using other AI services and you like the idea of the AI service being directly inside your email client, and you save some time and you're not feeding Google's training algorithms or any other AI algorithms. That's Proton Mail and Scribe. But there's actually a whole other Proton product hiding inside the Mail app. Honestly, it took me like a day of using Proton Mail as my primary email client before I realized there was a fully fledged calendar app hiding just in plain sight, essentially. Like, sure, I noticed this little calendar widget here on the side, but that just shows me one day at a time. But then on my second day, I noticed this little button over here. And if I click it, I can switch over to Proton Calendar like this. And ta-da! There is the whole calendar. Honestly, having the calendar and mail together in a desktop app like this is such a nice change of pace from having to do everything in Chrome or another browser all the time. Now, if you've been on Google Calendar before, there won't be a ton of surprises here, to be honest. We already imported our calendar events from Google earlier, so that's essentially good to go. If I want to create a new event right here in Proton Calendar, this is how. I just click essentially the new event up here. The event dialog pops open. I can add all the standard stuff that you would expect. Title, time, participants, notifications, and a short description. I can also tag a physical location if it's an in-person event, or hook it up to ProtonMeet for conferencing by just clicking this drop down here and then selecting ProtonMeet. Then I hit save, and that's essentially it. Proton sends out an automatic email to all the participants with a meeting link and the description. That's that. Another cool feature that's worth setting up is multiple calendars. And here's how that works. I head over to Settings, then All Settings, then Calendars over here. I hit Create Calendar, name it here, for example, Work. Pick a color. I'll go with blue this time, like this. Hit Save. Now I do it again, and I name this one Personal. Pick green, save. 2 calendars, 2 colors. Events on each one shown in their own color so I can see at a glance what kind of event each one is. Now, I mentioned ProtonMeet a second ago, so let's talk about it for a second, because it's the piece that essentially closes the loop in communications if you're ready to jump to Proton. ProtonMeet is Proton's video conferencing app. They're Google Meet for your team, or Microsoft Teams if you want to replace that. There's audio, there's video, there's screenshot, chat, all end-to-end encrypted. Meet uses a protocol called messaging layer security under the hood, so the encryption isn't some like homerolled thing. All right, so your inbox, your calendar, and your video calls are sorted out essentially. But the moment you go online, your ISP sees every site you visit, and any open Wi-Fi network sees the same. None of the encryption we just talked about covers that part. And that's where Proton VPN comes in. It's essentially the next product I'd set up, and it's the one thing that adds something your Google or Apple setup doesn't actually truly have: an encrypted tunnel that hides your IP address. Now, before you connect to the VPN for the first time, there's a handful of settings you actually want to touch first. And let me walk you through them, because Proton ships some of the good stuff turned off by default. And here's what you want to do. I open the Proton VPN desktop app. The main UI is pretty clean and almost self-explanatory. Quick Connect button is here at the top, the server list on the left, a map in the middle, and these one-click home screen icons over here for Kill Switch, Secure Core, and Net Shield. Now, the first thing I want you to do is flip the kill switch on. A kill switch is a setting that cuts your internet the moment the VPN drops, so your real IP never leaks. It's the one setting I turn on before anything else, and it's not on by default, which honestly drives me a little crazy because I have to explain it all the time when I recommend it to friends and family. I just click the kill switch icon right here like this, and you get this choice between standard and advanced. Standard's fine for most of you, so I'll pick that. Done. 2 seconds. Next, the Net Shield icon right next to it. Net Shield is Proton's DNS level blocker for ads, for trackers, and for malware, and I click it like this and then just flip it on. That's it. And from now on, browsing's just become a little bit cleaner ad-heavy pages show blank spaces where the ads used to be, and the trackers never even get a chance to phone home. Literally zero effort, real benefit, but you just gotta know where these settings are. Now there's 2 more settings worth knowing about, and here's where to find them. First, you gotta click the settings gear up here like this, and the settings panel opens. First, I want to show you is the protocol picker right here. We got 3 options. There is WireGuard for speed, then there's OpenVPN for compatibility, and then there is Stealth for restricted networks. And honestly, just leave it on default smart selection like so, and you can pretty much forget about it. Proton picks the right one for the connection almost always better than I could, and this is automatic. Only swap to Stealth if you're somewhere where your network is really actively blocking VPN traffic, like a hotel or a school or some very restrictive country. Now the other one, which is down here, it's called split tunneling, and that's a setting that lets you route some apps through the VPN and others outside it. So I click it like this, and you can see 2 modes. There is exclude mode right here that sends everything through the VPN except the chosen apps. And there's include mode over here, right? Which sends only chosen apps through the VPN. As you can see down here, I keep my banking app on my real IP, but everything else goes essentially through Proton, because banks sometimes have the tendency to block VPN connections, or they constantly request authorization codes if you connect with different IPs. So that's just a little more convenience. There's a heads up though, right? Split tunneling is not on iOS at all right now, and it's still experimental on Mac. So this one is mostly for Windows and Linux users. All right, that's the boring but important stuff out of the way. Now let's get to the fun part. And let me talk about my favorite Proton VPN feature, which is called Secure Core. This routes your VPN traffic through a privacy-friendly country first before it hits the country you actually want to appear in. Now, Switzerland, Iceland, or Sweden, they act as the first hop. A lot of really solid VPNs don't have this feature. Big names like Mullvad and NordVPN are way behind here, for example. And let me show you exactly how to use it right here. I open Proton VPN desktop app. Over here in the server list, there's a Secure Core tab. All I have to do is find the country I want to appear in, let's say the US, and click connect. And bam, right? There we go. You can see here it says I'm connected to the US, but through Switzerland. If I want Iceland or Sweden instead, I just click this arrow right here and pick one of them like this. Now, other than Secure Core, the other thing essentially nobody else really matches on Proton VPN is the free tier. And I mean a free tier that actually does not suck, right? They have 10 countries, no time limit, no bandwidth cap. Every other reputable VPN's free tier is either a 7-day trial or some marketing trap that throttles you to 2 GB per month. And Proton, well, just gives you a usable free product. So if you want to try it before paying, you absolutely can. Next up, the profiles feature in the desktop app is criminally underused. I have 1 profile for streaming set to the US exit, 1 for torrenting set to a country with, well, friendly file sharing laws, obviously, and 1 set to maximum security with Secure Core on. So I can switch it with 1 click instead of just digging through menus. And let me show you how to actually build one. Now, first, I open the Proton VPN desktop app, like always, head into profiles over here on the left. Now, hit the new profile down here in the corner like this, and you'll see this dialog right here. Let's name it torrenting as an example. And here on the top, I'll set it to peer-to-peer optimized servers, which are perfect for torrenting. Next, I'll pick a server in a safe country for torrenting by clicking here. Let's just say Norway. Next, I can expand the advanced settings down here and adjust a bunch of things. Now, I'll flip both NetShield and port forwarding on. The first to block my malware, and the second essentially to speed up my torrents, right? Common tip for fellow torrent users. For the protocol and NAT type, I'll just leave it on default. It works. Boom. Now I can hit save. The new profile shows up in the profiles list right here. I click it once, and the connection switches over to my new torrenting setup in essentially one motion. Overall, Proton VPN is one of the best VPNs on the market, and it does a lot of the heavy lifting to justify the bundle pricing, which we'll get to in a bit. And speaking of pricing, I've worked out a custom discount for viewers. The link is, as always, in the description box below. I keep that link updated, so no matter when you're watching this video, you're getting essentially the best price I can find for Proton VPN. I actually did a full breakdown of Proton VPN on its own over on my VPN channel, so I'll leave a link to that up here in the corner of the video and obviously down as well in the description box below. Next up, we have Proton Pass, which is probably the Proton app with the biggest impact on your overall security. It's the password manager that replaces your browser's built-in one. Now, first thing you want to do is get your existing passwords out of Chrome or whatever browser you use and into Proton Pass. And let me show you exactly how that works. Right here, I open the Pass desktop app, I click Settings up here, and then Import, right? The source picker pops up. I pick Chrome from the list, see? But now what? I mean, well, I need to export from Chrome, so I have to open Chrome and click the password manager icon up here like this. Now, I click Settings over in the sidebar, and then over here, there is a section called Export Passwords. Now, I just click Download here and save the CSV to my desktop. Next, I just switch back to Proton Pass and I click and drag the CSV file into the import field right here. Then I get this preview of every entry that I can review and accept or decline if you want to delete a password, and then that's it. All my logins sitting in one encrypted vault that I can access anytime securely. Now, a password manager isn't much good if it just stores your passwords, right? It also needs to let you use them, and that's where autofill comes in. And let me show you exactly how that works. I'm on a website sign-up form, like a standard form, and when I click the email field right here, Proton Pass immediately pops up like this. And now I can use my regular Proton address, or I can create a dedicated alias. We've already talked about that, just by clicking right here. And now when I click the autofill, Proton Pass automatically suggests a strong password. So, wow, it looks secure, so let's go with that. Now when I go to sign into this account I just created, you'll see that Proton immediately suggests both the email alias and the password. All I have to do is hit login. And another thing I really love about Pass is the built-in two-factor authentication codes alongside the password. So instead of running a separate authenticator app and separate password manager, your 6-digit codes live next to the login they belong to. Just make sure to keep the 2FA for your actual Proton account somewhere else. Otherwise, if you get locked out of Proton Pass, well, you're locked out of everything. Now, let me give you a quick warning. If you imported your passwords from Chrome or somewhere else, immediately delete the CSV from your desktop. That file is plain text. It's the most dangerous file on your machine until you truly wipe it out. So here is the bottom line on Pass. It's insanely good value for privacy-curious users. The Alias integration alone, for me, personally justifies it. And if you're already paying for, say, 1Password, LastPass, or some other password manager, I think Pass is a real alternative at a much lower price. It's definitely worth it. And speaking of worth it, if this video is useful for you so far, well, as you know, a quick like helps me keep making these, and subscribe if you haven't already. I test these tools constantly to keep these recommendations current, hopefully helping you with these videos as well. In terms of replacing what's already in your daily life, Proton Drive is the product that does essentially double duty. It replaces two things for you, Google Drive and Google Photos. So this one's going to take probably a bit longer because there is a bit more to set up and a lot more to cover. So Proton Drive is cloud storage where Proton can't read your files. Sounds good, right? And when I say it can't read, I mean across all three layers. The file content, that's the first layer, then the metadata, and even the file names. All three are end-to-end encrypted. Proton just receives encrypted blobs. The actual encryption happens on your machine before anything leaves it. So even Proton's own servers don't see the file content or what the file is even called. Now let me actually show you the thing on Drive that I think most people miss, and that is share links with passwords and expiry dates. And this works even on the free tier. And by the way, I think this is pretty crazy. Even other privacy-focused services that I love, like sync.com, for example, gates at least some of this stuff behind the paywall. So if you've ever wanted to send a file to someone without leaving Gmail a copy of it forever, well, this is exactly where it lives. Watch this. I open Proton Drive in the browser, I right-click a file in my drive right here, and then I pick Share. Now, this is where a lot of people miss the extra settings, and that's because to even see them, I have to flip the switch here that says Public Link, and there, right? See that? Now I have the password and also an expiration date option at the bottom. Now I can add a password, then set an expiry date down here like this. Let's say 7 days. Now I just click copy link and send it wherever I want. Whoever I send that link to types the password to open it, and after 7 days, the link just dies. The file stays in my drive untouched, and that's it. Oh yeah, and one more thing while we're on the web client. Version control, very important. Right-click any file and hit version history like this, and you'll see this list of your changes. The free plan gives you the last 10 versions from the last 7 days. It's really good if you want to undo some changes from yesterday, but pretty useless for, I would say, long-term protection. The paid plans, however, they go all the way up to 10 years of history, which is frankly insane. For most people, this is the kind of feature you don't care about at all, right up until the day you overwrite a document you actually shouldn't have, right? Now, if you want files syncing in the background, just like Google Drive, you want the desktop app set up properly. Let me walk you through it because, as always, there is a little bit of fine print, a few things you truly got to know before you actually can get started productively. I'll sign in to a fresh install of Proton Drive desktop app right here. The first thing it does is ask which folders I want to sync. Now, I can pick from these default suggestions here or add another folder with this button down here. Now, for this example, it doesn't really matter, so I'll just pick documents and move on, right? Now, on the next screen, I confirm where the synced files should live on my machine. Hit finish, set up, and now I'll be straight with you about this. The desktop app, it works. It syncs reliably. Feature-wise, it's a bit thin. And there are 3 things in particular I wish really Proton would fix. So Proton, if you're watching this, maybe you can write this down and upgrade the app soon. First, you can't actually manage your files inside the desktop apps. There is no proper file browser. There is no move this into that, no rename from here. All of that lives in the web client. The desktop app is basically just a sync engine with a status window stapled on. And second, the sync is 2-way only. So if I delete a file from this folder on my laptop, it disappears from the Proton Cloud too. There's no setting to flip that into upload only or download only. Useful when you want it. It's a little painful when you truly don't. So just know what's going on so you know how to treat your files. And third, there's no File Explorer integration. If you want to add a new folder later, you do it from inside the app, not by right-clicking the folder in File Explorer on Windows. Dropbox and OneDrive both hook into the context menu. Proton doesn't. It's a small thing, but it adds up when you use it every day in productive use. None of these are, for me at least, deal breakers, and the security and privacy do make up for these shortcomings, but the desktop app is a real, I would say, good enough 3-star rating from me instead of a, oh, great product right off the bat, right? Okay, so that's the Drive desktop app. But if you're like most people, the main, if not the only reason you care about cloud storage in the first place is for your photos. Moving years and years and years of pictures over, and videos even, over from Google Photos probably sounds a bit intimidating because, yeah, it is, but luckily it's not actually that bad. And let me show you how this works. Okay, so first, I need to actually get my photos from Google. So I open Google Takeout in a tab like this, takeout.google.com, if you want to type this into your browser. I only want my photos, so I'll deselect everything, then check only Google Photos right here. Now, I just click Next and then create export like so. And that's it. Google will essentially email me a link to download the zip files of your photos. If your photo library is as huge as mine, you'll probably need to wait at least a day to get it. And once you get your zip files, just unpack them. Now, I just tab over to the Proton Drive desktop app, and I can click on the Photos import menu over here on the left. And as you can see, there's a dedicated import mode for, well, Google Photos. So let's click on that, right? Now, all I have to do is click Select Folder and point Proton at the unzipped export I showed you earlier. And bam, that's it. My photos are now safely uploading into Proton. Besides email, this is the one I'm really glad to have out of Google's grubby little fingers, right? Finally, my photos aren't just training fodder for Google's photo recognition models. But that only covers the photos you've already taken. Going forward, you want new photos from your phone landing in Proton Drive automatically, the same way Google Photos used to do this, right? The Drive mobile app handles that, so that's what we're going to set up next. Okay, so first you'll obviously need to download and install the app. Just find it on the Play Store or the App Store, depending on your device. You can pause the video until it's installed, and I promise I won't go anywhere, so don't worry. Okay, so now you can open the Proton Drive app on your phone. I'm already logged in, but I mean, you can put your username and password in, so you get to the same page where I'm right now. Then I'll tap the menu here in the corner, and then I hit Settings. And here is the Photos backup, almost at the top of the list. Now I just tap it and then flip this toggle. And I'll also turn on mobile data for backups. But if you're on a capped data plan, then maybe leave that one off. So it depends a little bit on you. Basically, there we go. That's it. Running now, uploading your photos automatically. From now on, every photo on my phone lands in Proton Drive, encrypted on the way up, obviously. So what's next? Let's talk about Proton Docs. Same client-side encryption that makes Drive work also makes, obviously, the docs work. but with one big extra. There is real-time collaboration. The document content and the live collaboration are both miraculously end-to-end encrypted, and that includes cursor positions and keystrokes as you and your collaborators type in something into the document. And here's the thing nobody else has. Google Docs collaborates great. Google reads everything in it. Proton Docs collaborates with the same live cursor experience that you're used to with your team, and Proton, they can't read a word. Now, one thing that you need to know before you start, because it changes what you're going to do. There is no bulk import from Google Docs. Absolutely none. You can't point Proton at your Google Drive and say, oh yeah, bring all my 1 million documents over, right? You're either copy-pasting documents one at a time or downloading each as a Word doc and then re-uploading it into Proton. So Docs is the swap that takes the most manual effort of anything in this video. And that's not me like trying to scare you off. It's just so you have the right expectations going in. Once your docs are over though, it's a really familiar experience to what you're essentially used to from Google for you and also for your team. It will be super easy to do the transition. There's not much to configure here, so let me just put them side by side real quick and show you the basics. Watch this. I've got Proton Docs open over here on the left, right? Super easy, looks simple like a doc editor. And Google Docs over here on the right, same blank document in both, and a second account collaborating with me in each one. Oh, how smart, right? Look at the cursors. I start typing in Proton Docs, and over on the collaborator side, you see my cursor move character by character real time, exactly the way Google does. Now, I flip over to suggesting mode here, and I change a sentence. So do that. And the suggestion lands with my name on it, ready for accept or reject one by one, just like Google's. Up here in the corner of Proton, the lock icon confirms the session is end-to-end encrypted. And now the formatting menus, because you want to make your document pretty, right? Watch this. Google's menu over here goes deep, right? Paragraph styling, tables, all the extras. And Proton over here covers the basics. Headers, bold, lists, comments, suggesting mode. Now, as you can probably tell, there's definitely more advanced stuff over here in Google's menus. So if you really depend on a certain things like voice typing right here in the tools menu, or maybe citations here for academic work, or smart compose, finishing your sentences as you go, Proton doesn't have any of it, right? Yet. There's also no in-doc chat with your collaborator over here like Google has, which Google has tucked right next to the comments. So if those are part of your daily workflow, like hold off migrating those specific docs for now and keep them on Google until Proton catches up. So that's docs. Now, the other half of Google Drive for most people is really, I would say, Sheets. Proton has Proton Sheets too, and is one of the newest things Proton has shipped. And we also want to do this side-by-side comparison real quick. Again, I have Proton Sheets over here on the left, Google Sheets over on the right. Same numbers dropped into both, right? As you can see here, like all the basic commands work in both. I've got sum, I've got average, count if, and so on, right? All the formulas that you might need in a more advanced spreadsheet. And if I pull up conditional formatting over here in Proton, you can see it's also pretty much the same thing you get from Google. But just like with Docs, there's some more advanced features missing on Proton's side here. Down here in the Google Sheet, I have some more advanced formulas. You got query, import range, stuff like that. And watch what happens when I copy them into Proton Sheets. It just throws an error. So just like with Docs, if you depend on advanced formulas like this for your work, well, you should probably just wait a little bit until you can migrate all your spreadsheets. This video already is getting pretty long, so if you want to learn more, I did a full Proton Drive review pretty recently, and the link is up here for you to check out afterwards. All in all, Drive is one of Proton's stronger products, I would say. And if all I needed was like cloud storage for photos and backup, I probably would have made the switch years ago already. But the problem was always the documents part. If you use Google Drive for your work, you know that it's really more about docs and sheets than it is about the drive itself, unless you are obviously a media creator and you upload terabytes of video files. Remember that shield icon from the mail section when we flipped on Proton Sentinel and I said, well, I'd get back to it? Well, now's the time, I promise you that. And here's what Sentinel actually does for you. When someone tries to break into Proton account, Sentinel applies stricter challenges to that sign-in attempt. So a stolen password alone is a lot less likely to get someone in. Anything that still looks suspicious gets escalated to actual security analysts at Proton. Actual real humans, not an algorithm or some Gemini-powered support bot. Real quick, before we move on, these services, they change constantly. Proton ships updates every few weeks, prices shift, features get added and removed. So if you want to stay current on all things tech, I send out a newsletter covering all of that, and the link is in the description box below. All right, back to it. Proton Wallet. I have to be honest, I'm not a crypto guy. I do hold Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies, but I don't trade. Like, I have mine on a hardware wallet, and that's it. And looking at what's been happening to the Bitcoin price this year, I'm pretty happy about where I am right now, but it's part of the ecosystem. And I mean, you're going to see it on the dashboard. So you may be wondering if that's something for you. So let me cover what it is and what other people are actually saying about it. So Proton Wallet is a self-custody Bitcoin wallet. Bitcoin only, no other coins. The headline feature is wallet by email. Now, if you and the person you're sending Bitcoin to both have Proton Wallet set up, you can send Bitcoin using their Proton email address instead of pasting a 30-character wallet address. Well, that's it. That's the differentiator. Self-custody means you hold the keys, not Proton, obviously. Lose your recovery phrase, you lose your Bitcoin, full stop. That's how this works. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, or some people. So if you do set this up, write the recovery phrase on a piece of paper, store it separately from your password manager in a safe box, and treat it like cash. Because with a security phrase, you can restore your wallet anywhere and everywhere, and you need to absolutely keep that. Here is the part I think is more interesting than my opinion. The reaction to Proton Wallet on the privacy and crypto adjacent internet has been, I would say, mixed at best, and the loudest complaints weren't from crypto people at all. They were from Proton's own users asking why their email company is shipping a Bitcoin wallet instead of giving their users stuff they actually want. So to me, wallet is, to be honest, kind of irrelevant. If you do crypto trading, you probably already have your system set up. You have a wallet you're happy with, you're using it. But if you don't, well, then you'd probably never really use this feature. All right, there's one final Proton product to cover, and that's Proton Lumo. It's essentially their take on a privacy-respecting AI chat assistant. Obviously, this is all the rage now. The Proton answer to ChatGPT and Claude, if you will. And let me show you what it actually looks like. I open lumo.proton.me in a new tab right here. The chat interface looks what you'd expect. I can toggle web search down here in the tools if I wanted pulling fresh sources, for example, and I can drop a file like this, drag and drop from the file explorer. I can also click up here in the corner to pull files from my Proton drive. If you want your chat to be destroyed on exit, Mission Impossible style, just turn on ghost mode over here in the sidebar. On the privacy side, Lumo keeps no logs. Your data is erased after processing. Your safe chats are encrypted, and critically, none of your chats are ever used to train the models. And that's exactly the thing I've been wanting someone to build. And as much as I love all that, I've used Lumo side by side with Claude and ChatGPT, and capability-wise, yeah, it's just not there yet. The bigger commercial models are still way ahead on reasoning and writing quality, but I really love that someone is building a privacy-respecting alternative at all, and it's perfect for essentially the queries you don't want sitting on someone else's server forever. Now, try the free tier, see what you think, and decide maybe it's worth upgrading or not. Okay. So if you're one of the people watching this video who doesn't actually have a Proton account yet, you're probably trying to figure out if this whole bundle's really worth it. So let's get to the math together, basically. Look at this table on screen. Down the left is the type of product: cloud storage, VPN, password manager. The middle column, the Proton app that covers it, is Proton Drive, Proton VPN, Proton Pass. And on the right, the paid alternative you'd actually buy on its own. So Google One, 200 gigabytes at $2.99 a month. There's Mulvad at about $5.50 a month. And there's Bitwarden Premium at $165 a month on the annual billing. Now, I have to call out one thing on that storage now. The closest Google tier you'd actually buy is 200 gigabytes. Proton Unlimited gives you 500 gigabytes. So this comparison is actually shortchanging Proton on storage by more than half. Add those three alternatives up and you're at roughly $10.14 a month for cloud storage, a VPN, and a password manager. Proton Unlimited comes out to $9.09 a month. So the bundle costs slightly less than just those three subscriptions alone. You'd get more than double the storage. Mail, Calendar, Docs, Sheets, Meet, Scribe, and Lumo all come along on top. All right, if you're going to do this, here's the order I'd actually recommend. 3 stages. Stage 1, start with Proton Mail, Calendar, and VPN first. Those are the basics. This is the core of the whole Proton ecosystem. You install the Proton Mail desktop app, run Easy Switch, and it pulls your Gmail over along with your contacts and calendar events in one pass. Calendar lives right in the same desktop app. So the second that import finishes, it's already there waiting for you. Then you install Proton VPN and tweak the settings we covered earlier. Stage 2, Proton Drive and Pass next. This one's a bit more work because, you're moving years of files and photos. Do the Google takeout for photos, wait for Google to email all those files, all those photos to you, the zips, then set up the Drive desktop app and pick which folders you want syncing. And then for Pass, export your passwords from Chrome to a CSV, drag it into Pass to import, and then delete that CSV from your desktop immediately, like I warned you about, and leave the originals up on Google for, say, 30 days as a safety net before you actually wipe anything. And finally, there's stage 3, docs and sheets. Well, last for 2 reasons. There's no bulk import, so you're moving documents one at a time, and the advanced feature gaps, well, they mean some of your docs and spreadsheets, they should honestly stay on Google for now anyway, or in Microsoft Excel or whatever you're using. So move the simple stuff first. Run Proton and Google side by side for a bit and only cut over when nothing you depend on is actually missing. You don't have to remember any of this. I've put a whole thing into a one-page migration map. Every step, every import, every setting we flipped in this video in order. The link is always in the description below. You can print it, you can have it on your iPad, you can follow it top to bottom, and nothing gets left behind with the migration. So here's the bottom line. For most of you, going all in on Proton is the right move today, and the math of this bundle, it actually makes sense. It makes the decision an easy one. Everything we set up today is on the migration map link below, so you can do this at your own pace. Now, if this was useful, as always, a like and subscribe will help me keep making these honest privacy videos like this one. These walkthroughs, they take a lot of time to prepare and obviously record and edit. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.